This is what you need to do so you don't have to call us. All right, first things first, we're gonna start off with the rotary hook right here. Here, this is your bobbin in your bobbin case, and inside there is your rotary hook. This is something that you want to lubricate every 4 hours of use. So as long as you're using your machine every 4 hours, you want to take your little oiler and stick it right inside here and put some oil in it. So this is what this looks like. This is your rotary hook. And if you notice, the part where the bobbin goes into, so if I take my bobbin and I put it in like this, so if I lock my bobbin in, this is what it looks like. The bobbin stays still and the rotary hook goes around the bobbin like this. So this thing is spinning at about 800 to 600 RPMs per second, or stitches per minute, okay? So it's gonna go 600 up to 1200 stitches per minute. And what this does is, this is how it ties the knot, but notice how the bobbin case area stays still and the rotary hook goes around the bobbin case. So this is metal on metal. There are no ball bearings on here, so it is imperative that you keep this lubricated. So every 4 hours of use, you're gonna take your oiler and you're gonna take a couple drops and put it right in here and along this little line. So there's only one little part where that touches the actual rotary hook. The bobbin case area touches the rotary hook right along that little rail. So once you put a couple drops in there, you're gonna hit the 100 button. So if you hit the 100 button, the reset, you'll notice that the rotary hook is gonna spin a little bit. So once you put a couple drops, you hit the 100 button and it's gonna cause that to spin around and you're good to go, okay? Now, once you're done with the rotary hook, the next thing that we're going to maintain is we're gonna slide this off. Now, really, you don't have to, but I like to do it because I like to see where I put my oil. Everywhere there's a little red dot, you wanna put oil there. So, right here, let me just go back down to here. Here you want to put just a little drop of oil. So as you squeeze your oil thing, you're going to see a little drop come out and it'll just automatically go down into that hole and it's going to feed the shaft that's spinning, and there's a ball bearing here that's holding that in place. So when you put the oil in that little hole, you're putting it into this ball bearing that's keeping the shaft spinning nice and smooth, okay? So here you want to do this about once a week, but the only part of the machine that you need to oil every single day is the rotary hook, and that's every 4 hours of use. Now, once a week, you're going to open the bobbin. You're going to take the needle plate off with these two screws. You're going to remove the needle plate and you're going to blow all the little pieces of thread that are cut. So this is once a week. Again, what you do every day is oil the rotary hook. That's it. Once a week, you're going to remove the needle plate and inspect to make sure that your cutting blade is lubricated and that you have no thread. So this is where you take your air compressor and you blow it out, or you can take a little brush, a makeup brush, and brush everything out. And you're gonna put a little bit of oil there right in that hole. Right in the back of the sewing arm, there's also this little red dot that you wanna put oil in. So if you take a look at it, that's the back of the sewing arm. You see, the sewing arm goes all the way to the front, and just at the end of it, you're gonna put a little bit of oil right into that little hole right there. That's about what you do once a week. Okay, now that we're done with this part here, we're gonna move on to the upper part. So these are your needle bars. So if we slide this off, now you could put oil in the little red holes, but I like to do it a little bit more systematically. So right along here, you're gonna see a little felt pad. And on that felt pad, you're gonna put just 1 drop per needle bar. This is gonna keep the needle bar nice and lubricated, and those felt pads, they do tend to dry out over time. So that's why about once a week, you wanna just make sure that they're nice and lubricated. If you slide open the door and you notice that there is lubrication on it, then you don't have to worry about it. But at least once a week you want to inspect it. And you can always take your oiler, and right up here you're going to put a little drop of oil on top of the needle bar, because your needle bar goes all the way to the top. So by putting a little drop of oil, there are 2 places where the needle bar touches the chassis, which is here and right behind here. So the needle bar is also going through a part of the chassis right along the head. So by taking a little drop of oil on each needle bar, you're making sure that that whole shaft is nice and lubricated. Okay, now that we're done with the needle bars, we're gonna go to the plate or the head slide here. So you're gonna move the head over to needle 1. and that's going to expose your rail. So this rail is what the whole head slides on. So you'll notice that there is white lithium grease on that rail. So you're going to take a little brush and you're going to spread the grease around, or if you need to, you can add some more. So it's a quick little thing. If you see that there's a clump of the grease, you can just take it and kind of respread it. If there's not enough, you can always just add a little bit more, and you don't have to gob it on. It doesn't have to go very thick, just a little bit. So now that we're done with this side, there is a T-plate back here, and this is where you put oil. You don't put grease on this, you put oil. So you're just going to put a little drop of oil right on the T-plate, and once you do that, you're going to move it to the next needle, either needle 15 or needle 20. So this, what we're doing here, will work for a 20 needle machine or a 15 needle. The same thing. It's just that you have more needles. So here you have the other side of the rail, and you're going to put the white lithium grease on that rail. And also, that's going to expose the T-rail right on top. So you're going to put a couple drops of oil on that side of the T-rail, and now you can just move it back and forth, and that'll lubricate the head for you. Now, behind here is your cam motor. The cam motor, or your color change motor, and what that does is it spins around and it changes the head. It moves the head back and forth. So you want to take that white lithium grease and do the same thing. So you're going to have to do a couple things at the same time. So while it's on needle 1, we're going to go to that side, and you can see all the little knobs, and you're going to take the grease and you're going to respread it just like we did again. Once you're done with this side, you're going to go back to needle 15 or 20, and now we're going to do the same thing to this side and spread the grease around where we couldn't do it because the cam motor itself was in the way. So that pretty much does it for the head. Let's go back to needle 8 or needle 10 if we're dealing with that. Now, while we're on needle 1, there's a couple things that we can do. So we're going to spread the grease here. We're going to put oil on the T-bar. We're going to go to the back side, and we're going to make sure that the little knobs have grease on them. And here we can access the reciprocator, and we can take the little nozzle tip and put it right here and put a couple drops right on the reciprocator itself. So these are things that you do once a week. We're going to take this plate off, and I'm going to show you the gears that connect the main drive shaft motor to your sewing arm motor. First, let's put this back. With your Phillips screwdriver, you're going to remove this front plate. And remember, make sure you use a number 2 Phillips screwdriver and not some little rinky-dinky skinny screwdriver, or else you will have trouble getting these screws out, and you may strip them. Make sure you remove all of them. Now, what I'm doing here is what you would do once a year. This is a once a year type maintenance. Alrighty. So let's slide this out. We're going to drop it down and slide it out. So right inside, right under this plate, if we were to remove this plate here, you're going to see that there's a main gear, and they both mesh. I'm going to take that off so you can see it as well. So right in there, you're going to see where the main motor shaft connects to the sewing arm, and inside here you'll see that there's a bunch of grease. So if there is a little grease, you can add more, or you can respread it, because over time the grease displaces. So this is something that you want to check once a year. You don't have to be taking it apart. It's also a good idea to remove it just so that if there's any debris in there or dust, you can blow it out and just kind of get it nice and clean, because there are some sensors in there that you could potentially clean to make sure that they're working properly. Okay? So now that we're done with that, we're going to go over here and open this side plate. So once we remove this, This is for to check the belt, the integrity of the belt on your machine. So once a year when you're removing the back, you can also remove this plate and just check the integrity of your drive belt. This is one belt that drives your whole system, so it's important to check it out. Now when your machine is new, the belt, being that the belt is new, there's going to be a couple little pieces of the belt, and you may, this is the first time we're opening this, and if you look right here, you can see that there's a little bit of debris of the belt. This is a normal amount. If there is an excessive amount of black belt material, then you may have to adjust your belt. So you're going to have to remove this, and you can adjust the belt very easily, and we do have videos on how to do all these things. So this is just the upper portion of the belt right here, and the belt tensioner is right there. So there's a little Allen screw that you would loosen. You would loosen the Allen screw up here, and by turning this screw, it will add more tension to the belt. So once a year, you want to just open this up to make sure that you don't have an excessive amount of belt debris. You will get some, but you shouldn't have an excessive amount. So this is a good time to clean the area out, make sure it's nice and clean, so that next year when you look at it, you can see if there's a little bit more oil or more debris or less debris, depending on how often you use the machine. You just want to make sure that everything is tracking very well, okay? Once you have everything there, you can put it all back, and that's it. So guys, if you follow these steps, you won't have to call us. Remember, every 4 hours you're going to lubricate the rotary hook. Every week you're going to do your needle bars, and you're going to inspect your rail and the T-bar. And once a year you're going to open the machine up in the back and check that little area to make sure that the drive shaft has plenty of grease. All right guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we're coming out with the next great content.